Hey guys, it's me, Mario again. And today I'm going to be continuing Beast Quest for ya. Yeah. I tried this I don't know how many times. So I hope this uploads to YouTube. The first 2 times was with imperfection, and the third time was not being able to upload it onto YouTube. So, I'm going to read this again for the second time, but technically it's my third time reading this since I've read it before without you guys, and then I read it to you guys, but it didn't record, even though it looks like it recorded. Yeah. I have a desk set up out there with my drink. So yeah, I'm going to be continuing Beast Quest for you. Dawn of the Dragon. Tom, Elena, Silver, and Storm cleared the forest at the end of the first day, and were now traveling across rocky ground. They had been traveling without rest for 2 days and 2 nights, desperately tired. They'd jumped out last. They camped out last night. They'd all slept heavily, apart from Silver, who had kept an ear out for danger. But morning had soon come, and the fire that had warmed them from the night was dying now. Tom opened the map and studied it. "Let me look," cried Elena, running to kneel next to Tom. Ever since he had first shown her the magical map, Elena had been fascinated by it. "We're very close to Ferno's mountain now," he said. "I reckon the winding river should be near here, but I haven't seen anything." Elena pointed through the mist to a massive stack of boulders piled up across the valley below them. "Perhaps the river has been dammed up by all those rocks." Tom pressed his finger against the river on the map, and sure enough, it came away bone dry. "I think you're right," he said. "Come on, it's light enough to get moving now." The sun rose slowly, and the mist began to clear. They looked out across the land at the slope of distant rocky hills and the jagged shape of far-off mountains. Tom felt a tingle start in his chest and creep through his body. With somewhere out there, his destiny was waiting, and so was Ferno, the fire dragon. Not been going for 5 minutes already. Six minutes. Let me take a quick zip of juice and water. Hope me opening and closing that isn't muffling the sound quality. Later that day, they reached the rocky hills. They began to climb and, after a while, arrived at a plateau. The mist was thicker here. Then suddenly Storm threw back his head and whined. Excuse me. And Silver's hackles rose in warning. "What's got into them?" asked Elena nervously. "I don't know." Tom drew his sword and unhooked his shield from his back. Then he walked on alone a little way. Still going. Suddenly, through the mist, a dark shape loomed ahead of them. Tom clutched his sword more firmly as he felt a shiver up of excitement and his anticipation, not excitement. But the shape didn't move, stealing I can't speak today. Stealing himself, Tom walked a little closer. It looked like a steep rocky slope. He said, Slate, I think. "The animals don't like it," called Elena. The key in Tom's pocket began to feel warm. The key in... No, I already read that. Was it reacting to something close to them? Or was he imagining it? "I'm going to explore," he said, looking back at Elena. "There's something here." Elena lifted her bow and pulled out an arrow from her quiver. "I'm coming with you," she said firmly. Tom knew it would be hopeless to argue with her. "Don't even think about leaving me behind," she said, testing the point of the arrow with her thumb. "I wouldn't dare," Tom smiled, glad she was with him. Then he looked back at the rocky slope, his smile fading. It was time. Leaving the animals where they were, Tom and Elena... Low power. Tom and Elena started walking up the slope. The slate was black and glossy. like no rock Tom had seen before. Then he felt a giant vibration under his feet. "Hold still," he told Elena. "Something's happening." They listened, but no, nothing. Only the vibration pulsing through the rock beneath their feet, pulsing like a heartbeat. Pulsing like a heartbeat, they say. Tom crouched to take a closer look at the slates. They seemed to shine like dark scales. Scales? "Back!" Tom shouted. "Get back to the animals, to the real hell." Elena stared at him. "What do you mean? The real hell? This isn't Slate," Tom cried, grabbing hold of her hand and pulling her along after him. "It's Dragon's Skin." Suddenly a terrifying roar rang out around them, beneath their feet, and the ground shifted. They threw themselves off the slope and down to the plateau, where Storm and Silver had been pacing anxiously. The wolf howled while the horse skittered backwards. Tom had never seen so frightening in all his life. "What are we going to do?" Elena shouted. "Shall we run?" Clutching the shield tightly, Tom tried to think. He was on a quest for the king. He couldn't run away now. But before Tom could reply, the beast began to rise from the rocky surface. Up and up. Ferno the fire dragon was gigantic, towering over them all, with his huge jagged wings extended. He blocked out the sky with. His head was coal black and spiky, and tied around his neck was the enchanted collar, held in place by the golden lock, and that glowed with a strange magical light. Tom gasped. So this was what a beast looked like. Ferno was as big as a mountain. What chance did a boy have against such a brute? But as he looked at Elena standing beside him, bravely clutching her bow and arrow, and as he thought of his friends and family back at Iranol, he knew that however slim his chances, no matter how slim his chances, they were worth taking. "While there's blood in my veins," he vowed, "and for the king and my father, I'll see this through." Just saving the words immediately made him feel braver. Tom started up at the dragon as it swung its huge head to and fro above them. "We must get that collar off," he said. "That's what is controlling him and making him evil. If We can do that. Ferno will go back to protecting the kingdom instead of destroying it. Elena clutched hold of Silver for comfort. But how will we ever reach the collar? She asked. Slowly the dragon lowered his head, sniffing the air that his eyes bright and blood red. His dreadful gaze fell on them. Tom stared deep into the beast's eyes, mesmerized, and saw himself reflected back in the huge pupils. Ferno was so close, Tom could feel the heat of the dragon's breath in his face. The seconds pulsed by slowly. Then Tom snapped out of his trance. With with a gulp, he brandished his sword and stood his ground. Ferno reacted quickly, uncoiling his huge forked tail. The dragon slashed it out like a deadly whip. But before it could knock Elena and Tom off their feet, Silver bravely pounced. He snapped his teeth into the scaly flesh of the thin tip of Ferno's tail. With a roar, Ferno jerked his tail up into the air, with Silver still clinging on. The dragon's tail went whipping, whistling over Tom and Elena's heads, wiping Silver through the air, flung like a catapulted stone. The wolf landed with a thump on the rocky ground and lay still. Silver! Silver! Cried Elena, springing towards him. No, Elena, Tom shouted. Keep still. Stay here. Stay there. But Ferno had noticed Elena's sudden movement. He opened his massive jaw, letting out a furious roar. Then he pulled back his head and prepared to strike. He's going to attack Elena, Tom realized in horror. She won't stand a chance. And that was chapter 7. I hope this records and doesn't mess up in the uploading process. It's been almost 20 minutes, but Ugh. Well, I hope you enjoyed my Beast Quest series so far. Not my Beast Quest series. Adam Blade's Beast Quest series. Hope you enjoy my read-through so far. That's what I meant to say. And I hope you enjoyed my intro and everything else. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye!